Okay, we're live.
Awesome.
We are live here at Shiloh, at the place where the tabernacle was, and I think right behind us, behind that sign, is where the Holy of Holies was. We're probably in the holy place.
This is also on that sign, it's Hannah's prayer. This is the tabernacle in Shiloh where Hannah came and prayed for a son. And so many people come and gather and pray here.
Yes, it's a beautiful place. We've had beautiful experiences here. I personally thought that it's really cool that while we're here, we're also we were able to see the red heifers. We'll put up some video of the red heifers. That was really awesome.
It's another one of those providential things. We decided to come to Shiloh today, and it just so happens that the person that was sitting behind us on the bus was speaking English and talking to a friend, and we found out that they had an appointment to go visit the heifers today here with Mariah at Shiloh, and we asked if we could tag along, and so that ended up being another miracle that we were able to go in with some people that have a heart to
Help with the
take
red
care
heifers.
of them.
Yeah. He actually is coming to volunteer
From Indiana.
from Indiana. He's actually comes from an Amish community, and he's had it put upon his heart to come and help take care of the heifers because he's taken care of cattle all his life, and he came here just to help. And he's gonna put up the money to even buy the sawdust to bed them, and he's actually just given his service to the red heifers in order to be ready for this red heifer. And tell us about his work at Qumran.
Yeah, he is experiencing a whole bunch of providential events himself. He's involved in the excavations down at Qumran, where they discovered the storage pots of the temple incense that they found there, and they are on the verge, he says, of hopefully finding containers that also contain ashes of the red heifer. And the reason this is important is because he was saying that anciently they always mixed the ashes of the old red heifer with the ashes of the new. And so we have heifers that are qualifying to make new ash right at the exact same time as we're on the verge of bringing forth old ash from the storage caves in Qumran. And we never cease to be amazed at the coordination of events and people.
The Lord just seems to be moving on different people's hearts for different things. He also showed us in Qumran, he had pulled out the spices that
he
they
had
found
a sample of the spices with
in
him.
Qumran, of the spices for the temple
You
and the odors.
You couldn't smell it because it's too old.
Yeah, it's almost 2,000
but you can smell
years
it when you
old.
burn it. So that was just amazing that he actually had it with him.
Yeah, so he's sharing all kinds of fun stuff with us, and it's just interesting how many people have it on their heart to combine efforts. Byron Stinson, this guy, everybody, to combine their skills and their hands for this great latter-day
Fulfillment
mission.
of prophecy. Right?
Yeah, this great fulfillment of prophecy in our day.
So I asked the tour guide here at Shiloh, Mariah, who's been here touring and helping to build Shiloh since she was 5 years old. I asked her a question that I had, that if you are sprinkled with the ashes of the red heifer on the third day, and then again in the seventh day, and then you mikvah and you can go up to the temple, what is the start of counting to the third day? I mean, where does it start? And her answer was that when you have a desire to go to the temple, You can't just, jump in your car
You have
and
to
head
tell
up to the
them.
temple. You have to prepare for 3 days.
And then be sprinkled,
So-
and then you can go on the seventh day. That was
Yeah,
fascinating.
it's like almost like a fast, a waiting period before you can go
Preparation
up,
period. Yeah,
up to the Temple Mount.
that was a beautiful concept, I thought, and it's interesting in light of our teachings on the third and the seventh day, that we have talked about in other places.
We also learned that the altar that was just a model, number one, it's metal, of course, like we've seen online. It's not a kosher altar in any way, but it is also down by Jericho. It's not here at Shiloh at all, like
And
I
it's technically
expected to
not
see it.
a legitimate altar. It's made
Right.
of metal. And with a lot of stuff we found out on this trip, that altar is just a show.
a model.
Model altar. It's for show. And they don't even need an altar to do the red heifer. They just need a pile of stones, much like surround us here. I could actually, real quick, I'm going to spin the camera and then spin it back. You can see all these stones around here at the ruins in Shiloh. And,
Why do you say a pile of stones?
well, because that could be an altar, is all I'm saying.
They don't even have to have an altar. They just build it
Yeah, I
on
know.
cedar wood.
They don't have to have an
a
altar
pyre.
for this. But I guess what I'm saying is it's fascinating to note that this whole journey we're talking about of prophecy, much of our preconceptions are incorrect. And that's even true of Rhonda and I. We're learning all the time.
When we were at the Temple Institute, I asked them if the altar that they have, if you take a tour in the Temple Institute, they
have an
actually
altar,
have
yeah.
an altar there that you can go and see. And that one is built by the specs. That one
Yes.
has stones that, interestingly enough, you can pour. You can have molds and you can use plaster and still not be putting tools on the altar. And so there's different techniques that they have today that are modern, but the altar is still made exactly according to the understanding of the rabbis and the scriptures. And so it's don't believe everything you hear.
Yeah, well, and we've actually kind of give some videos that were probably not completely up to speed because we get, there's a little bit of a feeding frenzy sometimes I call it a feeding frenzy when everybody starts commenting on the red heifers and everything going on. And I think a lot of it is just sensationalism, trying to build views on YouTube, and unfortunately that gets into a lot of hype and a lot of things that aren't necessarily true.
So there are two things that we know now, and that is that of the 5 original pets that Byron Stinson brought to Israel, there are 2 still that qualify, and they are having a hard time.
Actually, there's 3, kind of.
Well,
One for
the
sure.
third one was borderline, right?
Yeah, they're not quite, but they're getting close. They're gonna have to make a decision, or they're gonna have to wait for new heifers.
But the other thing is that, they are not wanting to cause
An international
trouble,
incident.
right? They want the people to be behind this event. It should be a joyful thing when the ashes return and the people can ritually become clean again. And so,
I kind of personally don't think it's going to happen that way. That would be the ideal. Optimistic is for everybody to be behind it. But I think it might be possible that enough of the right people get behind it that they proceed forward.
right.
Well, I actually believe they almost have to soon. That being said,
And again, there aren't restrictions with this. It's not a specific day that it has to happen. They would have liked to have done it
On the
right
10th of
before
Nisan,
Passover. But the one thing that's for sure is that these events are coming together in an amazing way in the hands of the Lord. And it's an honor and a privilege to be able to watch these prophecies coming together around us.
And quite often, God is a last-minute rescue kind of God. So it could be clear to almost to Hanukkah.
Yeah.
We don't know. That being said,
But it was lots of fun to get to see the heifers again. And actually, I got a video of one of them licking Pharaoh's hand. So we'll have to add that to the end here.
the other thing I kind of think that's kind of fascinating why we're here talking about in these things is the place we're at, which is Shiloh, which is where Eli and his sons were, and Samuel was first born to Hannah's prayer we talk about. And every time you see that story, or at least when I see that story, I think of a teaching I heard that quite often we get thinking that we're just indestructible as Gentiles or whatever. And I think the warning of Eli is a valuable story, that we need to always stay humbly before him and
keep his commandments.
keep his commandments. Eli's sons desecrated somewhat the temple, and they lost the ark for a time. And the ark and the temple furnishings weren't reunited until much later.
And the glory departed. It didn't really come back to Shiloh.
Yeah,
Not yet.
Never came back to here. And it didn't unite until David united it down in Jerusalem, which is way to the south of here. I say way. It's not a long ways by our definition in the States, but it's about an hour south of here by car, approximately.
But Israel is returning. And the people that love the Lord, their hearts are returning to him. And I hope that's you.
Yeah.
And I hope that's us.
So we're going to share this with you, and we're going to close with shalom.
Shalom
And
from Shiloh.
blessings on you. Thank you.